Hey friends, today's conversation is an unfiltered, off the top of the head conversation ripped from my Twitch stream answering the viewer question of what would you do to save the game if you had the keys to the kingdom? It probably makes sense to do some disclaimers before I get into it, the first of which is I am not a game developer and game development is difficult beyond comprehension. I feel like this doesn't even have to be said, especially since the viewer question doesn't even have to do with that. But if I don't say it, the comment section is going to be impossible to navigate. And while I'm on the topic, if we are giving proper feedback to devs, you need to talk as though you are a patient at a doctor's office describing whatever ails you and letting them figure out what to prescribe. Okay, we good? Can I have some fun here? Can I have an easy video where I just skim through a Twitch stream and upload it for your enjoyment on the commute to work? Whatever, we're starting off with the summary. It's going to be a little out of order, but it's going to make more sense. Enjoy the video. Hey Cam, if you had keys to the kingdom, how would you save this game franchise? For the first time in a fucking decade, separate the sandboxes. Separate the game. Separate the camps of people who play the game for different reasons, rather than trying to give all four camps something that they don't want. That is how. And that could go beyond this just being an FPS game. I know that that is the key X factor that separates it from all of its contemporaries. I know that the good gameplay is what separates it from its contemporaries, but we've had a decade of lore, world building, jokes thrown in there, familiarity gained, that they could easily pivot to many different genres and have a competitive product. What would I recommend for Bungie to change in PvP in Destiny 2? Make areas where different genres of players can go. That's it. That's the simplest answer. Instead of making a compromise across the one PvP mode, just uncompromised. Just make 5 different PvP modes. It's that simple. Halo did it. Oh yeah, I would pay for freelance. That goes without saying though. Usually when someone says matchmaking, they mean the algorithms that puts together the match, not necessarily like the search features. Like if I could pick maps, if I could have custom server browser, if I could have freelance, if I could have it hit prefer connection, etc., like I would do all of that in a heartbeat. But I think you're more or less talking about like, is it okay that they use skill defining algorithms to try to create balanced matches? My answer is yes, that's perfectly okay. If anything, you're not going to believe me, but I promise you, it's correct. Destiny is one of the most lax matchmaking out of all the FPS games. It genuinely offers connection-based matchmaking. We just don't have a big enough player population that you notice it, but there's a lot of research to suggest that when it is truly random, the player-based fall-off is very fast. So maybe like, I don't know, like 7 years ago, I would have been, maybe even more than that, I would have been on the camp of, I just want random connection-based matchmaking, please, because it'll lead to more varied experiences. But the answer is, gaming and gamers' expectations have changed so much over the years that it's just not a realistic ask anymore. It's not like there's only 2 good games in town. Like, back on Xbox days, it was really, like, just Halo for a while. So, nowadays, you can play so many other games that as soon as they realize that they're not having fun, or that their fun is at someone else's expense, they'll just play a new game, and they'll leave, and the population will die. Like, I'm a believer in that. So, if I had the keys to the kingdom, and they were like, Cam, this is our budget, this is how much all of your suggestions cost, find a way to make it work. I would tell them prioritize the bot battleground. That is number fucking 1. I want you to create a private match environment where you are allowed to play against actual AI. Like, that's step number 1. They're like, why is that so important? That's the bulk of our budget. It's important because there's no other way to learn this game. If you get a new player in here, they're just going to get curb stomped. So that's step number 1. Step number 1 is invest in a bot battleground. Okay, narrator Cammy here. Imagine a clip where I climb up really high on some out-of-bounds map spot and juke a super out, and then just beat another super in a row after that. Alright, for context, I know what I did was really fucking cool, but like, think of the receiving end of that. Like, imagine that this is their first play session of Destiny after like getting acclimated to the game, and then they experience that. They just experience that they're super, you know, the part of the match where they're supposed to kick ass and, you know, fucking like drop people, right? That part of the match, I just denied it with just game knowledge, right? A little bit of execution, but mostly game knowledge. And They probably don't like that. They're probably like, well, that made my play session a little less fun. And if that keeps happening to them because they keep matching players out of their bracket, they're just going to quit. They're just going to be like, fuck it, this game's too convoluted. The people at this game are too good. I'm not even going to try. Then a viewer said that happened to them, but they just got better. Happened to you and you got better? Well, you're built different. Gamers have a short attention span, man. They'll just go to a new game. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean Bungie shouldn't be proactive in their game design. That's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm saying. For every person like you, by the way, you're in one of the highest hours played PvP players stream right now, right? Like, you wouldn't be in the stream if you weren't in the invested bubble. And even if some of you think you're not good at the game, you're in the bubble. Like, you're a knower. That matters. It's going to be extremely biased in here. So I'm telling you, if they're proactive in their approach, they're going to have more new players stick to the game. When you're in the bubble, you're not allowed to have... people use the word fair, but, like, we need to talk about, like, equitable and fair and whatnot. When I play this game, it takes a long-ass time to be kicked out of Skill Island. The game genuinely expects me to drop minimum 40 kills to have a chance at winning some of these matches that it creates with outlier protection. But the reality is, that's what you get for being an outlier. You're the outlier. So it takes a while before the matchmaking takes a little bit of heat off you. But if it wasn't that tight with calling me an outlier, then the problem would be people would reverse boost. And I hate to say I've seen it a lot. I've seen a lot of reverse boosters where they have a low KD, low experience account, and they'll use that account to start a match with a duo. They'll kick the duo, have one of the accounts join, and then they'll just farm lobbies of bronzes. So they'll do the two boxing method. I've seen people do it in Destiny. They don't think anything of it. They're like, it's the only way I get casual lobbies. I understand that perspective. I think it starts with, like I said, what would you change about matchmaking? What would you, if you had keys to the kingdom, the budget for PvP, how would you change things? My answer is we're starting with a bot battleground. We need a place where people can learn how this game works in a comfortable environment. That way, whenever they die to something weird in PvP, they can go lab it out immediately. Because not everybody has access to, like, knowing exactly how to search something on Modern Destiny on YouTube. They don't have access to all these sweat scrim discords. They don't have a Twitch chat that just ask a question and have it answered immediately. Like, you have to have a friend in a private match and then work through it yourself. So if you can get these players away from that hurdle, they might stay. But as soon as they hit that hurdle too many times in a row, they're going to go, what? You know, this isn't fun. I didn't play this game to take a fucking college course. I played this game to shoot some guns that feel good. So bot battleground would be number one. Number two would be we are splitting the game, splitting the sandbox. We don't need PvE fucking up PvP. You can definitely do like the Iron Banner seasonal mode or something like that and make it a event, like a genuine PvP event where it's fucking crazy, right? You can do that. But for regular PvP, I think you can have greatest hits. I think, by the way, it's going to sound fucking crazy, but when you really think about it, it makes so much sense. We have some greatest hits weapons in Destiny. When people say Destiny that are not Destiny gamers, they say Gjallarhorn. They know what that is. And we have all the OGs. We have Felwinter's Lie. I think the Aniope among high-skill players is a memorable weapon. We have the AS Luna from Destiny 1. Imagine if some of these weapons were just staple fixed weapon roll picks, but then other more powerful weapons like Felwinter's Lie is a map pickup, where you can have the OG rangefinder shot package, Felwinter's Lie, and just pick that bitch up off the map, like a power weapon. Imagine if all the PvE they spent making these void verbs, solar verbs, etc. Imagine that these could be power-ups along the map, and with love and care put on specific maps for specific game modes. Tune the speed of characters with the recovery speed. That way, every situation feels readable. And if you're like, that's not fun, well, I have some news for you. We have an opposite game mode, a Fiesta game mode, where you get to go fucking crazy. Infinite special ammo, perfect AE, faster movement speed, higher jump height, less blink cooldown, right? That would be the other half of it. And we'd start with probably like less than 5 game modes, tailored, with the fixed sandbox. That to me is like everything that needs to happen to take Destiny from a game that people try for a little bit and then are like, this is too convoluted, I'm not having fun, or I'm tired of the same thing over and over again. So you take those players and get them to become, I'm not taking the shot. I want to. Green Goblin mask. Let's just shoot Nero. Let's leg him. That would be my priority, though. My priority would be bot Battleground, separate the game, make curated modes, and sandbox. That's it, like, in that order. And I know that that's probably really unrealistic with what the suits want, but you asked me. Oh, and you want to hear about the PvE side now that I told you how I would do PvP? For the PvE side, I really think they dig deep into what the game director obviously wants. They want this game to be like fucking WoW and Diablo. They really do. So, like, stop trying to do fucking half measures and turn this bitch into World of Warcraft and Diablo. So I think the evolution of Destiny PvE is having a, I guess I don't have a mouse here, so I can't show you, but in the bottom middle of my screen, there needs to be an ability hotbar that you can navigate with your D-pad that augments abilities, has like utility shit, etc. So that's the angle I would go with gameplay. And as far as like the looter shooter part of it, go fucking crazy. I'm talking like some very unfair shit. Have worlds first, like, be completely decided by somebody getting the Gjallarhorn and somebody not. Like, go fucking crazy with it. People ask for it, like, fucking give it to them. Make the gamblers complain about gambling. Like, that would be my goal as a game director. I'd be like, we want this shit to be so fucking unfair and so power spiky from season to season, a complete wipe, etc. We want the players that ask for that to actually complain about it. Like, that's how fucking far we want to go in that direction. However, how do we rein back on that? We start doing, we use contest mode as the word contest, as in a limited selection of items, fixed roles, etc. And what would that mean? Imagine I queue onto this Eternity dungeon, and when I click here and I hit the contest mode difficulty, it says like these are your available 6 loadout, or let's say there's like 30 loadouts to choose from, something like that. You choose one of your 30 loadouts and you go set the best time in the fucking game. And if you succeed and you get top 100, you get a shitload of Bright Dust, or whatever tertiary currency there is. And then you use that tertiary currency, and instead of trading for the fun shit in PvE, you buy very, very sick cosmetics that do not go away each season. That way, the people who are like, I asked for gambling, and you gave us too much gambling. This is fucking unfair, man. How can someone else have Gjallarhorn when I don't? And it's like, bitch, you asked for this. You asked for this 6 months ago. You said, and I quote, fuck respecting your time. That's what you said. And they'd be like, I know that's what I said, but that's not what I meant. And it's like, well, okay, bitch, you get to go load into the fixed mode in PvE now. If you really are hot shit and think you deserve Gjallarhorn, well, why don't you go set the #1 time in the fixed set? You can get some Bright Dust for it and some sick cosmetics. That'd shut their ass up right there. I might upload this stream chopped up out of context, maybe edit it lightly, because I think this conversation was really good. Oh, and if I do end up editing me just taking these stream parts out of context, let's start with, when did I start losing the passion for Destiny? And I think the answer is very simple. It is when they changed their motto, when at Bungie, after you enter the studios and look at the wall used to have the motto on it. And the motto was, we make games we want to play. They changed that motto. That is when I could start feeling the dominoes topple. And I could see my soul being drained from this game. And what did they change that motto to? By the way, their new motto is admirable for what they're trying to achieve, but I'm going to argue that their old motto not only did what their new motto wants to do, but did it better. So their new motto is, we create worlds that inspire friendship. And that one makes me cringe. Not because I don't have friends or the capacity to make friends, but because when I look at this director full of things to do, I hate to say that when I have more people in these activities, it somehow makes it worse with the combination of matchmaking and difficulty. Like, I hate to say it, a lot of the raid design for a player like me, it's better experienced as a 3-man. Oh, we are breaking ankles out here. If I have people who can speak on a microphone in an activity, we run it over so much that the game starts being in the background. And I know that's what they mean when they say friendship. We get to talk about it. It was the highlight of your day. You know, little natural conversations there happening. But if the game was better, we would still do that. So I want you to think about that motto again. We create worlds where we inspire friendship. Do you know how hard it is to communicate with Destiny players compared to other MMOs? You gotta really go out of your way. I'll show you proof right now. Check this shit out. We create worlds that inspire friendship. Then why can't I make a custom title? for LFG. I have to do this title where I go farming, looking for experts with a tag of competitive, fast, meta loadouts. If I can fit more, I can probably do, right? I'm going to apply that tag. Then I'm going to have application required. And when I hit create listing, because I'm not able to have a custom title, what's going to happen is I am not going to get people joining for farming. They're only going to be looking for one single clear. I'm not going to get experts. They're going to have sub 3,000 hours. They're not going to be competitive. They're not going to be fast. And they're most certainly going to have a Thunderlord equipped, right? Or whatever the flavor of the season is. So if I hit create listing, that's what's going to happen. That is not creating a world that inspires friendship. A world that inspires friendship would let me make the custom tag, and the custom tag would be, we talk about anime in this fire team. I wouldn't even care about any of the rest of this stuff, because if they're on the same wavelength as me and can have an enjoyable conversation with another person, oh dude, Destiny's the easy part. All it takes is just being like, are you open to some constructive criticism on how we can go faster before we start this activity? And then if we fail, it's like, no big deal. Let's see what we can change. And we just go and go and go until we're done. The game is secondary. The game is free. But as soon as it's this, I'm just frustrated picking out players who didn't read the damn post, who don't give a shit about other people's time. Where with the custom title, it kind of is a filter on its own. Okay, friends, that concludes the live stream rip ramble. Let me know if this is something I should do more of. Not gonna say it was easy to do, but I could definitely do it again. See you in the next one.